Hi folks, it's Andy. Welcome to this week's Kendo rant. Yes, I said this week's because it's become a weekly thing. I know Kendo rant started out as a daily thing, but I just don't have time to do these every day right now. I really would love to do them every day. But yeah, we're down to doing them once a week at the moment. I will pick up the pace of them as soon as I can, but there's so many things that I'm working on right now. Of course, KendoStar is super busy as always, which is great. Thank you so much for that, by the way, for supporting KendoStar, because that's what supports the channel, of course. I announced in the Kendo Show Early Access group just the other day that we will be launching a brand new video series on the Kendo Show called Kendo 0 to Chudan. It's really, really great. I'm really excited about it. Basically, it's going to be a full comprehensive video course. It's a series of videos that essentially take you from nothing all the way through the sort of things you need to improve to a level to get through your first Dan exam. I really hope it's going to be great for beginners. I think it's going to be great for instructors as well. I think it's going to be a great tool that instructors will be able to use, because we'll go through things as well, like not just things for students, but like practice methods, which I think will be useful for teachers too. So definitely be on the lookout for that. I'm working super hard on that video project right now as well. I do want to bring it out as soon as I can. It will go in the Kendo Show Early Access group before it goes anywhere else. So if you're not in the Kendo Show Early Access group, get in the group. There's a link down in the description. It's free to join, of course. It's a great place to post your questions for the Kendo rant, but as well, it's where I post all of the Kendo Show instructional videos before they go anywhere else. So yeah, make sure you're in the group. So before we get into the questions, I did just mention KendoStar already. Don't forget to be doing your shopping at KendoStar. KendoStar is the website I run, of course. It's fantastic Kendo equipment. It's specifically catering for the international Kendo community. It's all super comfortable, super protective, super durable. Amazing, amazing Kendo gear. So get over to KendoStar.com and do all your shopping there. So yeah, right, let's get started with these questions. Okay, we'll soon be getting my 10-year-old son his first set of Bogu. What's the best way to size a youth's Bogu to allow for a growing kiddo? So that's a great question. It's one that I get quite a lot, actually. Basically, obviously, everyone's concerned when they buy Bogu for their kids, because kids outgrow everything so quickly. And I know this from experience. I've got 2 kids myself. Both of them do Kendo. And yeah, obviously, Kendo is mainly practiced by kids in Japan, more so than adults, actually. So it's something, obviously, Japanese parents have to deal with as well. And no, you don't have to buy them a new Bogu set every year. What you do is you essentially, the best thing to do, and I have commented on this, is you, if you go to like one of our junior sets, like the Vanguard Junior, amazing Bogu set for kids, by the way, over on KendoStar.com. The Vanguard Junior, because it's super, super protective. I designed it for my own kids, especially when we knew we were coming back to Europe, so they'd be practicing more with adults. So I wanted it to be super protective. If you go onto something like that, and I want you to put in the measurements exactly as they are, all right? So you'll probably measure them. It depends how old they are. If your kid, you say 10-year-old, so probably the around the chin measurement's going to be something around 60, 62. Could be less, maybe 58, depends. But it's going to be somewhere between the sort of 58 and 62 range. Put it in correctly as it kind of comes upon the tape measure, all right? And put everything else as it is. And then there's an option on there to include a removable men pad. You want to include that as well. I think it costs an extra bit of money, but it's not a lot. But if you put that pad in it, will then allow for that extra space, especially as we know it's a junior set. And what you want to do is you want to let your son wear the Bogu with the pad in it. All right, so the men's going to be a little bit too big, because like I say, we're going to allow for extra space. It's going to be taken up by that pad. And then as he grows, you're going to be able to take that pad out, and he's going to be able to grow into the men more. Now, that method will last him a long time, all right? A long time, to be honest, until he's ready for an adult set, frankly. So my kids started Kendo when they were 7. They got a Bogu set. The Bogu that they're wearing now, they got when they were 8 years old. yeah, I did exactly the same thing. I got it a little bit big. Obviously, I made it a little bit bigger to fit the padding, and they've been wearing it with the padding, and then we took it out, and now they're wearing it as it is, really. And my oldest one is 12 this year. She's going to be, she's going to be 12. She's not wearing the pad in it right now, but she's going to be fine wearing that for at least another 2 years, because although she's growing, it's going to stretch a bit as well, because there's probably a little bit of space in there still, to be honest, that because we're having to tie it up super tight. Same for my little one as well. She's 10 now. That's the best way to do it. Okay. And I'm not really anticipating. What I'll do is when my oldest, like I say, she's 12. Probably I think she'll be fine with this till she's like 13, 14. By the time she's 14, I'll probably get her another Bogu set that's more adult size, because I think she'll be tallish by then. I hope so. Again, I'll do the exact same thing. So I'll get her a small adult sized men. And I'll pad it out for her so that as she grows, she'll be able to wear it into adulthood. So yeah, that's what you do. All right. So that's that. Next one. If you were to pop over to train in Japan for a session or two, which of your Bogus would you take and why? Well, I wouldn't pop over to Japan just to do Kendo for once, like 1 or 2 sessions. If I was going over to Japan just to do Kendo, I'd want to do more than 1 or 2 sessions. But I would take, I'd be happy to take any of my Bogu sets, because I only use KendoStar Poker, of course. But probably what I would take with me is something like the Shinobu. Shinobu is a great set because it's light and it's comfortable, it's durable, and it's protective as well. I don't need it to be massively protective if I go over to Japan, because if I go over to Japan like tomorrow and like went to Keiko where I normally go to Keiko, I'm not going to be stood there as like receiving loads of Uchikomi for somebody. That's just, I don't really have that role. And even if I did, it'd be for kids, so they wouldn't really hit me that hard. So I wouldn't necessarily need something like the Vanguard Prime where I'm only, where it has to be super, super protective. I'd want something that'd be nice and that'd look really nice, which, I mean, they all do, but the, lightweight, comfortable. I wouldn't have, and yeah, it's got that kind of, it's a little bit more of a traditional appearance, the Shinobu, than some of the other sets. But I'd be more than happy to take any of my sets, really. Depends what I was going over for. I'd also probably consider taking my my Vanguard Praetor, because I absolutely love that. And I'm wearing that all the time at the moment, the Vanguard Praetor, because it's just so comfortable and it just looks so amazing. So yeah, I don't know. I'd be torn between my Shinobu and my Vanguard Praetor right now. Next one. If there's a high-level Sensei available for Jigeiko and nobody else is queuing for him, is it okay to go for him for a second time? So if you're at a Keiko and you've practiced with Sensei and then you go off to practice with others and then no one's queuing for a high-level Sensei, which is bad, to be honest. If there's high-level Sensei there should always be people queuing there trying to practice with them. It's not good if there's not. But if you see that, what I'd do before I went and practiced with them again, I'd probably tell one of my juniors, one of my kohai, hey, why aren't you practicing with Sensei? Get over there, and make sure that happens. But if there was nobody that I could say that to, then yeah, it would be perfectly fine for you to go and practice with them again. I'm sure it wouldn't be a problem at all. So yeah. Next one. Are prospective customers for high-end orders from KendoStar able to visit your premises in person to get measured up and do things like try on different armor elements, test fit for custom sets? Yeah, absolutely. You'd be more than welcome to come and... you don't have to be a high-end... it doesn't have to be a high-end order. You could come and visit if you want, no problem at all. You just have to let us know, though, because it's not a shop here, all right? Obviously, we're based in the UK, and we're based in the northwest of the UK. It's not like a town that's got a massive Kendo population. Probably there's like 4 people in the whole town that does Kendo. That's me, my wife, and 2 kids. So I don't have like a shop front or a store or something like that. But I'd be more than happy for you to come to our office and to our warehouse, and you could, try on Bogu. We could measure you up and stuff, and get you sorted out that way. No problem at all. But I just need you to get in touch with us and let us know beforehand so that we can make sure that we're prepared for you. That's all. But yeah, of course, you'd be more than welcome to do that. Do you have any tips or recommendations for traveling with Bogu? I'll be bringing my Bogu with me on a flight, and I want to do what I can to make sure it arrives safely and undamaged. So just make sure it's packed up nicely in your bag. You can either take, what I normally do if it's a long haul flight is I've got one of those suitcases that's like hard, you know, like the shell type ones. You can actually fit a Bogu in there usually, and then I pack it around with clothes and stuff like that. Or actually, last time I went to Japan, I actually took it in a rucksack style Bogu bag. Not too dissimilar to the Budo wing that we have. It wasn't a Budo wing, and I don't know if I should tell you why it wasn't a Budo wing. It was a prototype product that's coming in the short-term future to KendoStar, which is particularly designed for traveling as well as regular use. So yeah, I mean, the main thing is to pack it up. You know, so you've got plenty of padding around it, easy clothes or whatever, and generally it should be okay. Especially if you've got a synthetic door rather than a bamboo door, you'd be safer. But otherwise, it's not going to get damaged. It's not that delicate, you know. At the end of the day, it's beat up by sticks all the time. So, other than the door, you know, if it's a bamboo door, then you need to make sure it's nice and padded with the tat in. If you've got like Kendo and Hakama, you can pad around it and stuff like that. But otherwise, it should be pretty much okay. I've never had the experience of my Bogu being damaged. But the other thing you want to make sure is when you're checking the bag in, make sure that the luggage tag is attached securely. Because the last thing you want is that coming off somewhere and then the bag getting lost. Because that really sucks. What, when, and how long were some of the plateaus you've experienced? Okay, so Kendo obviously is an activity where you do have plateaus. So you feel like you're improving, and then you have like a plateau or even a kind of slump. And it happens to everybody. We all experience it. I've experienced it a lot, and it's really hard. It's really a hard thing to push through because you really feel miserable. Especially if you're a super competitive person, especially during my competitive era, it was a very difficult thing for me to deal with when I felt like I was going to the dojo and kind of not really getting any results. I wasn't performing how I wanted to be. It's a tough thing to deal with, and I've had it several times throughout my career, and how long have they been? I don't know. It's hard to say. I've had them that have been months at a time, certainly. I don't know. I'm probably in a bit of one now, to be honest. Because I guess if I think back to the last month of practices that I've done, I can't say I'm super happy with the contents of it, of my, in regards to my own performance or ability. But what I have found is that when you do experience these plateaus, is that they're actually the time that you're improving the most, even though it doesn't feel like it. It feels like you're not getting anywhere, you're not making any progress, you're not doing any good. But it's actually, these are the times that you actually are making the progress. It just doesn't feel like it. And then when you finally come out the other side of it, you'll kind of reap the rewards of all that, of the plateau really, of that improvement. And all of a sudden things will feel better. And I have experienced that as well. One thing I do try to do is I try and watch as much footage of my own kendo as I can. I try and video my practices when I can so that I can watch them back. And I can make sure, but I can check on myself and think, well, that's not right. That's not how I'm supposed to be doing that. That's why you're feeling like this isn't working, because, you haven't, your footwork's getting sloppy there or something like that, So yeah, I do have experience of those sort of plateaus, but everybody does. So yeah. I'm starting to see this creeping into the market, and as a brand specialising in protection, I thought you'd be interested. What do you make of sorbothane inserted Bogu? Okay, so I get this quite a lot. That's why I've decided to answer it on here. I did answer it in the comments of the thread as well. People have, I've had a few people come to me and say, oh, what about Sorbothane? What about, I think it's called D30 or something, all these new materials. What about putting these in Bogu and stuff like that? And to be honest, like, I've never seen, I have seen Sorbothane. There's been a few Bogu sets I've seen in the past that have had Sorbothane in it. I don't know much about that specific material, frankly, but what I do know is that the Bogu sets I've seen that use this material Sorbothane compare absolutely identically in terms of the protection that they offer when the specification is equal to Bogu sets without it. So for me, it's a bit of a fad, a bit of a gimmick, and I don't really buy into it, frankly. And it looks like it's quite an expensive process as well to include that in the Bogu. And to be honest, KendoStar's not about that. I think you probably know by now, but I'm not out there just to kind of, obviously we're a business and it's a full-time business. This isn't like my part-time job or something I'm doing for fun. This is my life's work. But so yeah, I mean, obviously making money, turning a profit is something that we're required to do to operate. But I'm not about to start putting out products that say, oh, this has got this in it, even though I know that it isn't effective, if that makes sense. All the Bogu sets that I put out on KendoStar, the sets that I've designed specifically with their features in mind, and I believe that they actually deliver on those features. So and I've tested them. You know, there's not a Bogu set. I own one of every single set of Bogu on KendoStar, and I own them for months before they become a product on our website, so that I know and I've got confidence in their ability to deliver on what I say that they deliver on. And I don't think that throwing in these sort of materials is going to change it or increase the protection more so than we already have done by altering the actual design. Now, I don't know about all of the materials out there. There have been some that I've seen and I've been quite interested in. One of those is, I think it's called D30. It's like this bright orange stuff. And I've even sent off to the company. I've contacted the company and talked to them a bit about it. But frankly, the cost of putting a material like that into Kendogu construction is absolutely massive. I mean, it's huge. And it's something that would completely raise the price of the Bogu well into the stratosphere, beyond any value that I think it would deliver to you, the people that will wear it. So that's the reason I haven't gone down that route any further. It's not something I've ignored or not looked into. I certainly have. I just don't think it's if you would have to pay an extra like double the price of the Bogu, and it's only giving you an extra, 15 to 20% extra protection. Even if it even does that, I don't know if that's really worth it. And I don't think that's going to happen. I'm not convinced on that yet that it's going to boost the protection by that much. I just don't see that. As being realistic. And that's not even getting into the logistics of trying to get that into a production line. Because, especially like our Vanguard Bogu, that's our most popular Bogu, we're making hundreds of sets of this stuff a month. So that we can keep up with the orders that we've got going out there. We can't, and then to try and figure out how to incorporate some new material, how that's going to work stitched inside the futon, or if it has to go outside the futon or something like that. I don't know. I mean, that's a logistical nightmare in itself. When frankly, the Vanguard, for example, is in itself a super protective Bogu set, and not a single person has come to me and said, hey, this doesn't protect like you say it does. And I don't think we'll get that either, because I know it's protective. It's super protective because I've tried it myself. So, yeah. Okay, last one. Does being exposed to Kenshi who do Nito or Jodan help you your own Chudan? If so, how and why? If not, how and why? Right, so I did answer this as well on the on the thread. It's really depends. It really does depend on the context, really. Basically, look at it this way. All right, let's say you've got somebody that's first queue and someone that's 8th dan, right? If the person who's first queue is going to do Jodan with the person that's doing that's 8th dan, who's going to do Chudan. So the 8th dan's doing Chudan and the first queue is doing Jodan. I don't think that the person doing Chudan, who's 8th dan, is going to benefit that much in terms of improving their Chudan by practicing against the person who is first queue doing Jodan. Make sense? I don't know if that does make sense the way I described it, but I think you can see what I'm saying. Also, I'm not sure either if you were to switch that around, if somebody was first queue doing Chudan against an 8th dan doing Jodan, I'm not sure they're really going to be able to benefit from that in a way where it does actively improve their Chudan. This is why you see a lot of 8th dan senseis that normally do Jodan, when they come against lower level people, they revert to Chudan. So yeah, it depends. Now, if you're talking about two people that are of a similar level, then yes, potentially, but it depends on what that level is as well. If you got two people that are like, you know, beginners, I'm not going to put a grade out there, but if let's say that they're beginners and they haven't, neither of them have kind of got to grips with Chudan, and one of them's playing around with Jodan, you know, I think you'd be kind of fooling yourself to say, oh, I'm doing it to help me improve my Chudan. But, you know, let's say two people who are both like 3rd dan or 4th dan are both practicing with each other, and one is practicing in Jodan, then yes, it does have the potential for improvement on both sides, depending on their attitude and the way they approach the practice. If they're just messing about trying to hit each other or having a play, shall we say, then no, not really. But that would go for doing Chudan as well. But if they're both actively looking to improve and they're treating the Keiko as an opportunity to do that, then yeah, I certainly think it would do. So yeah, it depends. It depends on the exact situation. So that's the questions for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down below in the comments what you'd like me to talk about next time. Don't forget to shop at KendoStar. I think I've plugged that quite a lot today, so I'll leave that there. And don't forget to join the Kendo Show Early Access group. I did talk about that at the start of the video. All of the questions today are actually from the Kendo Show Early Access group. There's a link down in the description down below. Make sure you go and join the group. It's free to join. Why wouldn't you? And yeah, finally, one more time, I just want to say it is going to be really great, this new project, Zero to Shodan. So do definitely look out for that. Make sure you get in the Early Access group so you can be the first to see it. I'm really, really excited about the project. To give you a bit of background, the whole thing came from, I remember back to when I first started Kendo. I started Kendo in the northwest of England. There wasn't many Kendo clubs. I was only able to practice once a week, but I was so crazy. I was so nuts about Kendo. I loved it so much. I just wanted to do it every day. And I managed to get my hands on the All Japan Kendo Federation's instructional video for Kendo, which is great. It's a great video and it's still pretty relevant now, but it is pretty old. But I just watched it. I had it on VHS and I watched it every single day until like the tape wasn't like playing properly because it was so worn. And I just thought to myself, well, there hasn't been a really good updated version of that for a long time. And the ones that have being put out there that are similar. They're all behind a paywall, you know, you always have to buy it. And I even thought about that myself. I thought, well, it could be a nice product for KendoStar. We could put out an instructional series of videos and I could sell it. And then I kind of thought to myself again, that isn't what we're about. We're not about just trying to make money, like I said earlier. Of course, we've got to do that, but you know, it's going to be a completely free series because I just want to be able to help the community as much as possible. I really do. Hopefully it will be useful to people out there that are just starting out in Kendo, people that are on the journey to first dan, or people that are teaching Kendo and helping others get towards the goal of the first dan. And also, I really hope that it'll be something that new people find. They see that and think, oh, that's kind of, I wonder what that is. They kind of click on it, and maybe they decide to take up Kendo after watching it, and therefore increases the number of people doing Kendo around the world. If it can achieve that, I mean, that'd just be wonderful. So yeah, it'd be great if you support the project. I'm not asking for any sort of money or anything for you to support it, nothing like that. Just make sure you subscribe to the channel, make sure you're in the early access group, and you know, like, share, subscribe, and all that sort of stuff. Other than that, thanks a lot for watching today, and I'll see you all next time.